This is Ron, Appraiser Broker. We're on the UtahForeclosures.com website. And let's talk a little bit about how to get more out of your property. And one thing that a lot of people don't seem to recognize, they want to spend a lot of money remodeling their property. And after, appraising for 29 years and being an agent and a broker, about 27 years, and having had the banks pay me money to tell them not only what I can get out of their property or what their property can be sold for as an appraiser, but also uh, what things need to be done on their property, what things are worth doing. And when we look at properties, let's do a search for a minute. We're going to look at some properties here for a minute. And let's go in and we're going to see this is set on foreclosures right now. It shows 21 foreclosures across this entire area. Now, if we go just all of Utah, it looks like there's maybe, and this actually goes up into Idaho too. It looks like there's 27 foreclosures available. Let's take a look at these and see what they're doing right or wrong on these to get the most out of them. Now, here's a property here. It doesn't, nothing sticks out at you. Certainly nothing looks bad from the front photos. But when people first see these properties, now look, they took a picture here and they're selling this property. I personally would have probably gone and shoveled the snow on this sidewalk just so that it looks like things are maintained at this complex, or at least so it doesn't look like they're not. And a lot of agents, they don't see the need for that. They don't feel like that's part of their job. I can understand that. My wife always says I do too much for people. But there are things that can be easily done right off the bat to get more people to look. Now, we look at this. This doesn't look too great from the front. Now, this is a property out in Neola. It looks like it's a manufactured home. When you first look at this, and let's get a large view, the largest view we can, a photo of this. This really doesn't look too great from the front. You've got logs that are sticking out here. Obviously, there's no grass out front. That doesn't make it look great. It looks like we got some yellow stuff coming down from the light. I can't see quite what that is. Nevertheless, your front photo, you really want to clean that up and have an agent that's going to help you get the most out of your property. And so you might want to be doing some things so that your property is appealing to people. And the first thing they're going to see is the front of the property. So you see, this doesn't look bad at all. It's a nice condo complex. Here's a property. Looks like it was made of brick, and sadly, someone's painted all this brick. This is down in Carbonville, Utah. Not something I would have done. I would recommend leaving the brick and maybe painting wood that needs to be painted. Here's a townhome. Here's another home. See, the photo here looks nice. Yeah, it was taken a time of year that the leaves and everything are dead, but it looks good. The front of the house looks good. Here's another property. Couldn't do too much to make this look a whole lot better without growing a bunch of stuff. And you've got grass here, but the grass is, it's a time of year when it's not alive. But the photo looks good. And here again, someone could have taken a moment and plowed the driveway, shovel the snow off the driveway. Definitely shovel the snow off the front steps, but obviously no one took the time to do that. And but it's a nice looking home. It's a nice looking home. There's things that can be done. Here's another property. Not sure. Maybe the garage is over there. And it doesn't look too bad from the front. This property here looks like it's down in Sigurd. Yeah, well, the agent was honest in showing that it's on a busy street. As soon as you see those double lines on that front photo, you know it's on a busy street. That's going to turn a bunch of people away. There are things that could have been done to show this property in a little bit better light. And this is, those photos are up to the realtor. Cleaning up the property is really up to the homeowner. And in this case, for their foreclosures, banks are listing these, and they're not going to get out there and shovel. So, they might hire an agent that is willing to make efforts to make sure that the property looks appealing, at least when taking the photo. And anyhow, these don't look too bad. Let's say those are out in Eagle Mountain, those condos right there. And here's another property out in Vernal. Vernal and Roosevelt have more than their share of foreclosures this time around. And when the oil industry goes down, which it did a few years ago, the work in the oil industry, the number of homes for sale go up, and the number of properties getting foreclosed on go up too. But let's go back and look at some of these and look inside. Because if the inside of the property isn't looking too great, let's take a look at this. That can really impact what you're going to get out of the house and how many people are actually going to go out to look at it. So let's look through there. Okay, well, at least this is cleaned up in here. Don't know why this photo seems to look a little bit hazy, as does that. And maybe those kitchen cabinets will appeal to some people. Whoever finished those that way, a lot of people that might not appeal to them quite so much. Of course, this is, one of the less expensive properties in the whole area, or the state for that matter right now. This is a manufactured home. So this doesn't look too bad on the inside. What they could have done here is clean up the front, cut some weeds. That doesn't cost a lot of money. Get out there with a weed eater, pay someone $20 to come with a weed eater for 25 minutes and clean the front of this up, really clean all the way around the house. But cut down your weeds, clean this stuff up, spend some time doing it, and chances are you'll end up getting possibly thousands of dollars more, but you'll definitely get more people competing for the property if it's appealing enough for them to go out and look at it. This home is not a really expensive property, but if no one goes out to look at it, or if only a few people do, there's not going to be very many people competing to get that property. And boy, if it was my property, I'd want to get as many people looking at it as possible. The most important thing that you can do in selling your property, and notice this looks like a board in the window, replace that glass. If that's got a broken window on it, that's where I would tell the lender, hey, there are a few things we need to get done. Let's get this stuff cleaned off the front of this. Let's get that window replaced. Let's get these weeds cut down, and get this cleaned up. I'll clean it up for you. At least spend a few hours, if that's what it takes, to clean things up so that we can get you top dollar out of this property. And like I said, it's not a really expensive property, but if we don't get people out to it to look at it, even though, okay, this one's $80,000 out in Neola, if you don't get people out to look at it, you're not going to get very much out of it. The most important thing that you can do is declutter and clean up a property that you're going to sell if you want to get top dollar out of it. Next thing we're going to talk about is doing repairs on properties. Some things are worth repairing, some things are not. Remember this, the most important thing you can do on a property that doesn't cost a lot of money, if you're going to sell it, is clean it up. Get it cleaned up so that it's somewhat appealing as can be. If you haven't put a few hours or a few days into cleaning your property up, and you don't care what you get out of it, then that's great, because there are people out there that would like to buy your property, and if they don't have very many people competing with them, they'll be able to get a good price and be able to get some equity doing that themselves. But if you want to get the most out of your property, clean it up. Most important thing that you can do, and that doesn't cost very much money at all. A little bit of elbow grease. You may even have some kids or pay some scouts or some people to come out and help you get a property cleaned up. I'm happy to help people when I list their properties, help them get a few things cleaned up, because I want to see them get the most out of their property. Now, I'm not going to remodel it for them, but sometimes I line up people. I just helped one client where I spent quite a bit of time, and he paid me a higher commission too to do it, but I spent quite a bit of time lining people up to get things remodeled for him, and he's thrilled with the money that we're getting him out of there because it's a lot more than he was offered before. Anyhow, this is Rod, Appraiser Broker, taking a look at just what we can do to get the most out of our property. The cheapest thing that you can do is clean it up before you list the property. And this is Rod. Have a good day. It is tax day, by the way, April 15th, 2019. And a lot of people are finishing up their taxes. They're going to start looking for a property to buy, and some of you are going to be looking at selling. Give me a call. I'll be happy to talk with you and give you some wise counsel on it. Bye-bye.